The incredible predictions of The Simpsons for the next 3 years have amazed audiences for decades, with forecasts so accurate that they seem less like jokes and more like glimpses into the future. From scenarios involving a possible global conflict with Russia to astonishing technological advances, the vision of the show's creators has been materializing impressively. First, the idea of a global conflict looms over humanity, and with international tensions, especially between Russia and NATO, this scenario is becoming increasingly real. In a short film from 1987 titled World War, one of the early episodes shows Homer becoming obsessed with preparing for a nuclear attack, subjecting his family to constant emergency drills. Although created for humorous purposes, this anticipation of pre-war anxiety strongly resonates with today's political climate. Second, one of the most discussed predictions occurs in the episode Bart to the Future from the year 2000, where Lisa Simpson assumes the presidency of the United States, inheriting a financial crisis left by a leader bearing similarities to Donald Trump. Even details in her wardrobe, a purple jacket, turtleneck sweater, pearl collar, and black heels, remind us of Kamala Harris, who debuted a similar style in 2021, suggesting that in the coming years, we might witness the rise of female leadership inspired by this scenario. Third, in an episode of the 3rd season titled, Brother, Can You Spare 2 Dimes?, a device is introduced that can transform a baby's babbling into comprehensible phrases. Surprisingly, it even worked with Maggie's words, revealing requests for affection and attention. Today, with advancements in smart monitors and emotion recognition algorithms, the idea of a baby translator might be closer than we imagine. Fourth, the notion that the digital and physical worlds could merge was explored long ago in The Simpsons. In an episode of the 28th season called Friends and Family, Mr. Burns falls in love with a pair of virtual reality glasses conceived by Professor Frink, triggering a wave of digital immersion among the residents of Springfield. With the launch in 2024 of the Meta Orion AR glasses by Mark Zuckerberg, the promise of an omnipresent augmented reality is becoming increasingly tangible, prompting the question of whether the real world will soon be replaced by virtual worlds. Fifth, in an episode of the 4th season titled Marginal Chains, Springfield is hit by an epidemic caused by the Osaka flu, initiated by a sick worker who contaminated a shipment of blenders. Despite its satirical approach with the disease spreading in seconds, the idea of an illness disseminating through global supply chains sounds disturbingly familiar today, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. Sixth, the series has always toyed with the idea that artificial intelligence might replace human workers, but the true fear, according to the writers, is the blind trust placed in machines. In an episode of the 6th season, Itchy and Scratchy Land, robots programmed to entertain end up turning against people, transforming fun into a struggle for survival. As artificial intelligence advances and assumes important roles in industry, with controversial statements from some systems that devalue humanity, the show's warnings about the dangers of uncontrolled automation remain eerily relevant. Seventh, in a Treehouse of Horror episode, Springfield faces a catastrophe when a black hole, instead of destroying the town, turns everything into a portal that transports people and objects to another dimension where aliens welcome them as guests. Although wrapped in the absurdity characteristic of the series, this idea echoes scientific theories suggesting that black holes could serve as passages to parallel universes or even contain entire worlds within them, and with recent astronomical discoveries, the line between fiction and science continues to narrow. Eighth, in the episode Bart to the Future from the 11th season, Homer and Marge enjoy an unusual gastronomic experience by consuming virtual food through straws while wearing virtual reality headsets. What once seemed like a distant fantasy is drawing closer to reality as companies develop technologies capable of altering our perception of taste, enabling international culinary experiences without leaving home. Ninth, in the episode The Margan Chronicles from the 16th season, the Simpson family embarks on an adventure to a space training center with the goal of colonizing Mars. Even Lisa signs up for a one-way trip. Although exaggerated for humor, This episode reflects the real ambitions of organizations like NASA and private companies such as SpaceX, which plan to send manned missions to the Red Planet soon, paving the way for the construction of a self-sustaining colony. 10th, in future drama from 2005, The Simpsons imagined a Springfield where flying cars soared through the skies, a futuristic vision that once seemed far off. However, in December 2023, the company Samsung Sky presented a prototype called the Switchblade, which demonstrated the ability to hover 500 feet above the ground, and with major companies already investing in this technology, flying cars, initially a luxury for the few, could soon transform urban mobility. 11th, in the episode Bart to the Future from the 11th season, the series plays with the idea that holographic messages could become part of everyday life, as Bart receives a humorous holographic farewell message. The advancement of this technology, evidenced by Tupac's iconic holographic show in 2012 and the use of holograms in theme parks, suggests that this form of communication, whether for advertising, entertainment, or even posthumous presentations, might become commonplace in the very near future. 12th, in the Simpsons movie from 2007, Homer inadvertently triggers an environmental catastrophe by dumping pig waste into Springfield Lake, prompting authorities to isolate the town within a massive bubble. Despite its exaggerated tone, this narrative reflects real environmental issues such as global warming, rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and devastating wildfires. And as natural disasters become more frequent, the show's warning about the consequences of environmental negligence becomes increasingly pertinent. 13th, although autonomous vehicles are often hailed as the future of mobility, The Simpsons have humorously highlighted the risks of blindly trusting technology. In one episode, an autonomous car refuses to stop for a basic halt, leading to comical situations that mirror real concerns over unexpected failures in automated systems, underlining that despite technological progress, a completely autonomous and fail-proof driving experience remains a distant goal. 14th, the series is known for its sharp critique of social and economic instabilities. In episodes such as those in the Treehouse of Horror from 1999 and Bart to the Future, The Simpsons portray scenarios of extreme financial crisis, from Homer losing his job to Lisa inheriting a disastrous budget as president, and with rising debts, inflation, and the looming risk of global financial crises, this satirical vision of a fragile economic system continues to resonate today. 15th, in the episode Grift of the Magi from the 11th season, the series anticipates a reality in which large corporations begin using schools as marketing tools, funding institutions in exchange for access to students and influence over educational content. This scenario, which already raised concerns in the late 90s, is even more relevant today as debates over the commercialization of education intensify, affecting the critical development of students. 16th, in the episode Paths to Glory from the 27th season, Lisa creates a solar-powered car for an alternative energy race, but becomes frustrated when a huge dirigible from DAF blocks the sun. Despite its humorous tone, this situation raises a serious issue. What if large corporations were actively hindering the progress of clean energy to maintain their profits? Given the history of the oil industry and recent regulations that stifle renewable energy projects, this satirical warning sounds increasingly real. 17th, in a Treehouse of Horror episode from the 21st season, the series imagines a zombie outbreak sparked by a food crisis, in this case a hamburger made with beef from cows fed on human remains. Although the premise is absurd, it highlights the vulnerability of our systems, as issues such as supply chain disruptions and unsustainable agricultural practices, which became evident during the COVID-19 pandemic, turn this satire into a warning about the dangers of neglecting food security. 18th, in the episode Thank God Doomsday from the 16th season, after watching a movie about the apocalypse, Homer convinces Springfield that the end is near. Even when his predictions do not come true, he even attempts to correct a mathematical error, mixing humor, collective panic, and even a surreal encounter with God in a world marked by climate crises, political instability, and unsettling technological advances. This apocalyptic vision resonates with contemporary fears that the end might be closer than we imagine. 19th, in the episode New Kids on the Block from the 12th season, the series tackles the disturbing idea of using music as a tool for mind control. When Bart, Milhouse, Nelson, and Ralph form a boy band that turns out to be part of a secret operation by the United States Navy, the song Drop the Bomb contains subliminal messages suggesting that certain musical content can, in an almost imperceptible way, influence our emotions and decisions. Although this is an exaggerated satire, it invites us to reflect on the power that media can exert on our minds. 20th, in the episode Holidays of Future Past from the 23rd season, Abe Simpson is sent to a cryogenics facility after contracting an incurable disease, an alternative that Homer justifies as being more economical than a nursing home. With the facility's entrance carefully disguised as a tombstone, the episode plays with the idea that advanced technology can delay death. Currently, the concept of cryogenics is gaining traction, with companies developing methods to preserve bodies and potentially revive them in the future, a notion that once seemed absurd on The Simpsons, but could soon become a real option for those seeking a second chance at life. The blend of humor, social criticism, and a touch of prophecy makes The Simpsons one of the most remarkable series when it comes to forecasting future trends. Although many of these ideas were conceived for entertainment, the astonishing proximity between the show's satires and current events invites us to reflect on how the line between fiction and reality is becoming increasingly blurred. Only time will tell if, in the next 3 years, we will live out some of the future envisioned by Springfield.